Hey you, this is 𝐃𝐚𝐬 of Visible Transitions saying hello from Sonoma County, California. Quick disclaimer, I have a traumatic brain injury and am very sensitive to light and screens. So you'll see me wearing sunglasses and you'll notice that I'm making light of being sensitive to light. I think the playfulness is where all the healing begins. And I'm here today to talk about a very important question, the question that should be being asked right now in the midst of CORONAPOCALYPSE. And this is a continuation to my video on Wednesday entitled How to Cope in the Midst of CORONAPOCALYPSE. So I shared a bit about my recent health crisis that started before the shelter in grace and how in early March I was done, literally done with life. And I've been here before, about 10 years ago. So I was done with life. I had no conviction to move forward with my healing. I saw no way out. And I was down in the depths of hell, having no answers of how I was going to make it through with all the medical expenses, rent, car, etc., whilst making $0 as a self-employed life transitions expert. So the question I'm talking about is something that I asked. First of all, I paused in curiosity. That's my favorite place to be. And I paused in sincere curiosity and asked life, what is option 3? What is option 3? Did I get a concrete, obvious answer right away? No. I discovered that the action of actually asking that question was the magic. So the asking of that question was the magic. It put me in a place of 100% full acceptance of my situation, which was pretty ugly and lots of uncertainty. So what is option 3? That question put me in a place of 100% acceptance. And can you imagine, do you imagine what happened for me? What happened to my nervous system when I asked that question and fell into 100% place of acceptance? And it's in that place and only in that attitude where I could hear the whispers, the answers to my problems. I could see them, I could hear them. And I knew with confidence that assuming I had to go with option 1 or option 2, 1 was get a job, 2 was running my business the way I was before my traumatic falls. Both of those were actually not an option. Well, for sure, I am unemployable. I'm just not made that way. I don't have that kind of makeup to be employed. I've been there for many years and it doesn't work for my constitution. And then 3, the healing time of concussions is inconclusive. So concussions, traumatic brain injuries are mysterious in terms of the healing process and the time of that, where it like sort of ends and begins normal life. So I was in quite a predicament here, and I just did not have any conviction. I had no conviction to move forward, and I knew that was a dangerous place to be, and asking that question, what is option 3, was the key to where I am now. I'm still incapacitated in many ways, but I am more functional. I have resumed working with a few clients. I'm out walking 40 to 60 minutes a day. I'm having longer conversations. There's a lot more healing to do, but I will tell you that that question, putting me into the 100% acceptance space, is what forged me into the conviction that fueled my desire to heal and become badass. Like, I really feel badass, even though there's still so much uncertainty in my life with the backdrop of coronapocalypse. And this comes to the topic of the power of words and thoughts and attitudes. They fuel either effective and favorable change or ineffective and unfavorable change. For example, in our current climate, one topic we are focused on in earnest is racism and justice. So ponder this, and many of you probably see this on social media, in the news, in the newspapers. So ponder this. Using the words and phrases like race against racism or anti-racism only fuels racism. Why? The word against and anti are a form of resistance and polarity. So when we're in this dual state, it's a war, and we become victim to it. So what do you think the results are if we're always anti and against? What do you think the outcomes are going to be? So how do we use our upset and our rage and anger and conviction as fuel to create effective, favorable change? Well, again, with our attitude and words and thoughts, those that are expansive and affirmative and declarative and for, words and phrases that are for and with, not against, those words, those phrases, attitudes, affirmative, declarative, with, for, that's what is going to create effective, favorable change. Ponder that. And the other disclaimer I forgot at the beginning is, don't believe a word that I say. Take what I say and experiment with it. So be accountable, take some time, ponder what I'm saying, the tips I'm giving, and see how your life unfolds. All right. Okay, so asking the question, what is option 3? That's my invitation to you. Now, asking it on a personal level first. Change cannot come from any place other than within us. Of course, nature is different, right? I'm talking about human nature change and the immature systems we're dealing with, like justice, education, medicine, politics, for example. So inviting you to ask the question, what is option 3 in terms of the current systems? And asking it for yourself first. Okay, so stay with me. The moment of asking this question, we begin to move from resistance to calm. And by the way, resistance is both attachment and aversion. So it's about like not wanting to see, avoiding, pushing things away, pushing things down. Also the attachment, the craving, wanting things to be different. I want this instead of this. I want to be in this relationship. I want my ice cream. Okay, so when we ask the question, what is option 3, we begin to move from resistance to calm. by way of being in that state of curiosity, asking the question. So now we can more easily access our gut instinct, intuition, creativity, emotional intelligence, and critical thinking. What is so important about that? What is so important about accessing our emotional intelligence and our creativity and our intuition? Well, I just gave you a great personal example. That, you know, the solutions lie there. When we're reactive and inflamed, we're not seeing or hearing the solutions. So in order to really access those solutions and answers that create the effective and favorable change, we've got to be in a calm, neutral, curious state, that full acceptance. And again, we can see the answers to create effective change when we see that option 3 is a possibility. We don't have to work with the current systems. It's not even possible to go back. And there is an option 3, and that is up to us to access those answers and to take action. So, also with this question, and being in that state of sincere curiosity, now our productivity, which is our capacity and energy, is surging, and we feel more expansive rather than restricted, in that restricted victim mode. All right, expansion, victim. Which one do you think is going to be most helpful for your nervous system, for your stress, for your family, your community, and globally? What is option 3 also brings us from victim to conviction. So I like that, going from victim to conviction. So I spoke earlier how I was victimized, you could say, by my falls and traumatic brain injury and bedridden. But I absolutely was not a victim, except for that moment, that day in March, which I spoke to, that I realized I had no conviction to move forward, that I was falling into that victim, into the victim mode, which is a dangerous place to be. So asking the question brings us from victim to conviction. We become more grounded in our personal power. Again, that's confidence. That's connecting, being in connection with our true source, our unique gifts, those gifts that we're meant to share with the world. So each of us has a unique gift to share. And that brings meaning to people's lives. Asking the question, what is option 3, helps us make informative choices that bring about that useful change. And now is the time to rewrite the script of our lives. It's the time to rewrite the systems. And we know the way things have been is just, it's not working. Look around. There's so many wonderful, wonderful things in the world, people and circumstances and results that are working. There's so much goodness in the world. So much goodness. Yet, I think people are addicted to drama, and so all this negative, what's not working type of news gets most of the attention. And so what is option 3 can get most attention. It can be very dramatic in a favorable way, really juicy, where we just so driven to put our attention on it. And that's my invitation. So our accountability, which is freedom, by the way, accountability is freedom. Ponder on that. Our accountability takes precedence over victim mentality. And Accountability is sourced from curiosity. So accountability is not sourced from assumptions. It is sourced from curiosity, from asking questions. All right, take 5 minutes, lie down on the floor, lie down on the grass, sit on the steps, go for a walk. Take 5 minutes to pause in curiosity and ask the question, what is option 3? So if you believe in a higher power, something that is bigger than you, you can direct the question to that source. For me, I call it life. So I ask life, what is option 3, life? Take 5 minutes today, ask it for yourself. As all change comes from within you, us, it doesn't come externally. And then ask it for the world. Ask it for your fellow human beings, even the ones you don't like. It's in the curiosity, in the asking the questions, where our humility lies, where we can listen to one another, even in our disagreements, which will always be the case. In one way or another, ask for your fellow human beings. And I leave you with this. Question without projection. Question with intention. Question without assumption. Question with illumination. See you soon.